Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the show. Welcome. So Cali podcast. All right. And today I want to talk about this P. Diddy survivor. She came out the woodworks and said that she was SA'd, you know, for P. Diddy by P. Diddy. And live the other day. And he goes by Sean. I'm going to put the link to if y'all want to check it out. But I want to do a reaction to the video. So we're going to be doing a live reaction to this P. Diddy survivor. Now, some viral photos went viral. And it was, an underage girl sitting on P. Diddy's lap. And LaMesha said, she confirmed that that is her sitting on his lap. But we're going to get right into the interview. Let's see what she got to say. And how she got SA by P. Diddy, how, they were doing ritual work, occultic work. It was satanic, she said. And let's dissect it. This is going to be part one of the reaction. So go ahead and hit the like button for me. Like, share, leave a comment down below, and subscribe. All right? Okay. Let's get right into the interview.
Everybody, as promised, we are here with LaMesha. She's been going really viral on the internet with her story. It's a phenomenal story, but it's also a harrowing story. So just a quick disclaimer here. If you've got any kids in the room, get them out of the room. There's going to be some graphic content talking about SA and the R word, etc. And Misha's going to mention some really big names. And I also have to add that Diddy, he is pre-trial right now. There's a presumption of innocence. He's not been convicted of anything yet. And he said he's going to go to trial and beat the case. I've just got to add that for legal reasons, as many of you know. And huge thank you to Misha for coming on. And thank you, viewers, for all of the questions you've put in. And the first thing I've got to ask you, Misha, is do you waive your anonymity? Are you giving us permission, to ask you questions and for you to share your story?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Do you want to just tell us then, what was your life like as a kid before all this happened?
Well, before all of this happened, I had a good childhood, but to a certain extent. I had my mother in my life, but I was about 6 years old, and she used to be a paramedic, and then she got on drugs. And then I remember living with my grandma. My mother would be there, but she wasn't living with us. My grandmother wouldn't allow her to the house. And around, I've been molested by family members on my dad's side. To where, and I was like doing it. They told me I was fast acting or whatever, but nobody ever got the grown person that did what they did to me. It was more of a be quiet, don't tell your dad, he gonna kill him. Don't tell your mama, she gonna kill me. So it was always pushed off. I felt like when I came, they always told me to tell the truth. And then when I finally spoke the truth, they'll tell me stop tattling. So
Let's pause right there. How many of y'all, when y'all was a kid growing up, your parents tell you, hey, somebody ever touch you in your private area and come tell us? And then when it happens, when a family member does it, and when it happens, and when you go to an adult and tell them the truth, then they say, oh, don't tell. I mean, It don't make no sense. It's like being a black female growing up. The odds is just against you. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then when you tell the truth, they want to keep it a secret. How many black women been, SA'd by a family member or a close relative, and your family members knew about it, and everybody just kept quiet about it, and you underage? Same happened to Misha. Okay, so let's start there. Her childhood was she already been SA'd, and the adults didn't come for her aid. Let's go.
No, but I did, but no, like after what that say that happened to me in the 6th grade, I was returned home, and when I went to school, I used to dress like in the summertime. I wear a turtleneck and I put on some pants. She was at Well Middle School. She known the principal. I told the class what I've been through. Mother. And like my grandmother played it off as if I was lying and I've been sick in the hospital, but I was not sick in the hospital. And after the holidays, I'm getting my school records to show the times I missed. But then I went back to
The new Bearskin Hoodie 4.0 claims to be the most advanced, waterproof tactical
school.
And did you have many friends at school that you could talk to, that you could confide in?
Yes. A lot of people want attention. She said she don't want no everything. And it seemed like when I spoke, she told her mother, and her mother was concerned because my grandmother used to poke fun at me with that I'm eating people and drinking blood. Like she said, I acted bad because I ate the blood, and I ate people and I drank blood. So like she didn't physically abuse me, but verbally I was abused a lot, like taunting me.
Wow.
When this was going on when you was a kid, were there any adults that you could talk to for support, or were you just on your own?
I was on my own because anytime I spoke out to an adult, my then she's always scare me with CPS. Like if CPS gets you or foster care gets you, they're gonna do you worse. They're gonna do you real bad. So I just learned how to suppress it.
So like when you're a kid, sometimes you have like dreams of what you're gonna do when you grow up. Did you have dreams?
Yeah, I wanted to be a singer. I wanted to be in the industry as far with movies, singers, writing. I was good at writing poems, and I was good at writing songs. And when I was younger, we had like the encyclopedia books, like all of them through the A through Z. We used to have that dictionaries. So I used to like to read a lot and write music.
And were you good at sports or anything like that?
I was in athletics, but I wasn't in any sports. Like I joined up athletics, but I never was on like any teams. But I was in athletics.
So
And
how old were you when you finished school, and what happened from there?
to be honest, I never made it after 9th grade due to me being with the diddler. I never made it out the 9th grade. I ended up going to Job Corps in McKinney, and then after Job Corps, I did cosmetology and barbering. I just finished that, like barbering cosmetology now. So that's what I'm doing. I'm into hair.
So for people here in the UK, could you explain what 9th grade means?
9th grade is like after the 8th. 9th grade, in high school, you have the 9th, the 10th, the 11th, and the 12th. I only made it to the 9th. I never made it to the other grades.
So how old was that?
When that's when you're 13, the 9th grade, you're 13, turning 14.
Okay, and how did you end up meeting Diddy?
Well, when I was younger in the middle school, I was advised not to say the person's name, so I'm not going to say her name. I met this girl, and after the 9/11, the Muslims were getting bullied real bad, and they bullied her because she wore the black turban on her head. And she told me that she wanted to be in gymnastics, and but her family wanted her to be like a gymnastics star, but she wanted to be a singer. She already knew she wanted to be a singer. So I got in trouble for the things that I was writing as a child. And I was like, they talked to me bad and was like, I was going to be nothing other than a harlot. So I gave her the music because I was mad. And her dad worked for CNN, and he was a producer. So, but he wasn't the type of producer that I needed. He introduced me to a ghostwriter that worked for, or that ghostwriter for Clive Davis and other music people, which was a Jewish guy with dark hair, and it was curly. He had a pointy nose. And through the Jewish guy, he was paying me the money from Clive Davis. That's how much I want. And like, I'm a kid. At first I was getting $20 for a composition. My grandmother. And then he bought Harve Pierre, Harvey, however you say his name. He bought him, and he was kind of bullyish acting without the Jewish guy there. At first he was paying me, and then I remember one time he came with a cigar and he snatched the book out my hand and like blew the smoke and was like, write some more. I'll be back. You better have like command me to write more. They was coming by my house this whole time, and they was recording me, like audition. Like they had me doing dances, singing the songs that I wrote. And one day, PR Harvey, he came by himself, and he said, with a driver in a black SUV truck with tinted windows, he said that P. Diddy wanted to meet me in person and come to his flavor camp for 48 hours. I told my grandmother. My grandmother said no. I was mad because I feel like she was taking away from me wanting to be a star. So I took it upon myself to sneak out the house, which was in broad daylight. And I went to the car, and I was thinking P. Diddy was going to be outside, but it was Harve Pierre, Harvey, however you say his name. It was him outside. And he had Diddy on the phone, and it was a big, thick cell phone he used to have. And he called him. I heard his voice. And I said, okay, they was supposed, the whole thing was in which part she be in, but we never went to go search for her. When I sat in the car, he was like, eat the candy. And it was some strawberries. It looked like it was open. I was on like the jelly beans. They just felt like funny. And he was like, eat. I swallowed some of the juice, but then it like I kind of just got stuck. And then I was like, I want to get out. And like he closed the door, slammed the car door, and then he got in the car. And next thing I know, they're lifting me onto the jet, and they're saying like my body weight is dead. They're saying I was heavy, like she heavy or whatever. I remember waking up on the jet. I remember my ear popping and my stomach dropping, and it was so traumatic. When I get there, I had on a pink Nikes and like a pink windbreaker outfit. When I get there, I had that on. I wake up, I have on the DG and I have on a skirt. And he was telling me, welcome to the flavor camp, and I'm going to make you a star. You have the quality, and like take pictures of that stuff that I remembered. I took a picture of the pool table. I took a picture of the room. I took a picture of the studio because it's pictures without me in the studio, but it's just regular pictures. I took pictures of that. And I remember him like telling me like, "Oh, nice body, got like a nice little shape on there, or whatever." And
Oh
after
wow,
that
man.
happened,
This is really hard to it's kind of really hard to listen to, man. Imagine just being a minor. You know, the baby oil, the candies. Like he been doing this since the 90s. He been drugging women, minors, men, kids for years. And it's all gonna catch up to Diddy, who, man, the Cassie video, like something, this dude is sick if this is the case. So she ain't, we gonna continue with the story, y'all. Hey, this is just part two. Probably do part two tomorrow. Make sure y'all tune in part two. But let's get back into the story. So they told her to eat these candies. All of a sudden, she's on a private jet. She's a minor, mom on drugs. Grandma ain't gonna say nothing. You know, they give grandma a little $500 there and there. At she's at Diddy's, sitting on his lap, and that was the picture of her sitting on his lap. But let's continue, man. Let's get the likes up for Misha. Hit the like button, not the strike button. Let's go, Misha.
I'm in a daze again. I'm on the chair. I have the same outfit on. See, it could have been different days, but I'm on the couch. I see a lady on the pool table. She's getting raped by, R word by P. Diddy and another black guy that was there. And they were doing what she was saying, that she was a virgin, and they still took it from her, and they had a pool stick on her too. I remember waking up saying I was thirsty, and when he was offering me stuff, and he was like, "You want some champagne? You smoking?" I'm like, "I'm a kid." I'm telling him I'm a kid. And then he give us some water. But when he brought the water, I took a big gulp because I was thirsty, and it was the same taste from the candy. So once I drank that, I remember waking up. I was in the restroom. But before we went to the restroom, he sent Roger and this on like it was like one of the long 15-inch ones, and it was had a penis on this end and a penis on, like it was two-sided. And I didn't know that was going to be for me, because he was asking me the way I wrote my music. It seemed like I had sex before, but I was writing about me being molested and how I was, my urges I was feeling. And after he got back with that dildo, I remember being hard on that bed, but I passed out. I was scared. He asked me if I did this before. He was sitting down, I was standing up, and then I was like, no, and he got aggressive, and he put me down on the bed, and he RA'd me. It hurted so bad that I passed out. I wake back up, I'm being RA'd in the restroom, and he's behind me. He has the video camera while he's behind me, and he ended up handing it to Pierre or whatever, and Pierre started recording, and he was like, man, I can't get off or whatever. He turned me around, kissed me in my mouth, and was telling me, like, you know, it's okay. He was like,
Maya knows how quality care can bring out a smile, but it's been a few dog years since she was able to.
I can't squeeze my nipples. And then he turned me back over. And when he turned me back over, he put it in my, where I do number 2 at. And I remember passing out from the pain because it hurted so much. And I'm thinking I'm screaming, but I'm screaming in my head. So whatever drug he has me on, I'm screaming in my head until my mouth was able to yell and scream. He switched out. Pierre, Harve, get behind me. I'm still like passed over the sink, but I feel the pain again of the thrust. It woke me up. So when I looked in the mirror to see, like, dang, you're not done, it was Pierre Harve. So I started yelling, no, 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 because I didn't consent to him, you know? I passed out again because it hurt so much, the pain. They tell the Jewish guy to come. The Jewish guy, I was looking at him like, help me, because I remember him telling me he just had a daughter. So I'm thinking he would help me. And he just looking there, he looking scared. I think he was crying too, to be honest. He was crying. He was looking, he didn't want to be there. And he wouldn't get aroused to me. And Diddy was like, if you don't do her, I'm gonna do you. So he was acting like it, but I wasn't screaming. And Diddy told him get out the way or whatever. And then Pierre Harve came back over there. He turned me around and he started making me give him from the front in my mouth. And I remember I couldn't breathe. I remember he slapped me upside my head, told me not to use my teeth. I remember him smoking. They were smoking. They were smoking white hard stuff, white rocks. And Diddy sitting in the door arm, and the way that the stalls are made, they're long.
Ooh, child. Man, go ahead and take a pause and hit that like button for me, man, one time. This wow. I feel so sorry for her. I'm just imagining, like, man, her at this time, you know, and she's had this done against her will. And the songs that she writes and the way she writes, they're taking these kids' innocence and their virginities. This is so sad. This is just part one. Part one today. We're going to do part 2 tomorrow. All right. You're watching Hustle Kelly podcast. And let's get back into the reaction.
It wasn't like a regular restroom. Masturbating. He's recording, and I remember that man shoving a champagne bottle at me, and I was screaming. I know if I wasn't screaming, I was screaming so loud. And they left me there, and some white guy with a cat smell came pick me up. This white guy said he gonna take me home. I said I want to go home. So I was thinking I was going home. They put me on a jet. He was like, we can't send her home. P. Diddy was acting frantic because I think he came to for what he did to me. And he was like, I couldn't go home. I remember the white guy put me girls. And I remember being with them at first, and then it was just me by myself. I remember being tied to a tree, being beat in my back. I remember them drugging me out of my mind. I wanted to die. And they put my hand over the stove. They put my hand over the stove to like wake me up. I remember each white man used to beat me with a thick belt in my back like I was a slave. It was other children there. They were brown skinned, a little bit darker than me. Like, if you can see, I'm two different colors or whatever, but they was like the darker color of me, the darker brown of me, and we were all in like a chicken cage, like in the like if I think about it, it was a slave cage. And it was a lot. It was like probably 50, and it went down to 30, and then it was just me. And I remember one time, P. Diddy was telling me to kill one of the babies, and I said no, and he shot the babies. He shot the baby. The baby had to be no more than 5 or 6. He shot that baby. He was like, pop, 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 pop. And he told me, pick up the knife. I thought he gonna kill me, so I picked up the knife, and I was just the body of the baby. And I remember certain celebrities that was there. They blindfolded me, but I could hear the voices. They had a knife, a corkscrew, a candle, a spoon. The knife was like a steak knife, a butter knife. They had a broken champagne glass, and a cigar, and each of them had to stick something in me. And the faces I do remember seeing is, and it's not allegedly, I saw Bill Cosby light the cigar, I just want to say that the God that I serve is an awesome God, because I survived this, and God helped me still where I couldn't move, but I was conscious. I can't explain it. Bill Cosby lit that cigar, and he did what he did to me. These are the things that I tune out. Okay, so he had a cigar, and he lit it, and he put it out on my area. I remember Jennifer Lopez saying she didn't want to do it. She was there with another guy, and she did it really hard, and she stabbed me with the champagne. I was screaming, going crazy. I think I started moving, and they blindfolded me, and I couldn't see what the rest of them did to me. And I remember we were all in a room with candles, and
the best part of my ProColor F13 DTF printer is being able to print whatever I want,
Oh my God,
whenever I
like
want.
ritualistic
A true
work. Oh my
DIY lover's dream. I love to do various DIY projects, so it allows me to easily make seasonal and trending designs. The ProColor L1800 has a micro piezo inkjet technology for vibrant color and supreme print quality. The printing is durable, and the design has a nice texture when it's pressed onto the fabrics.
we had to call on like Bell, Oshun. I don't want to say their name, but they know who they are. And whatever drug that they had us on, you can see what appeared in the light. And I promise, like I'm not lying. It's a spiritual warfare going on. These people conjured up these Baal, they conjure up Oshun, they conjure up everything. When it's my turn, I just kept saying, Jesus, Christ. And they said, what is she doing? Like, she can't call on him. And then they said I couldn't say Christ, so I just kept saying Jesus, 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 Jesus. And it appeared in the light. I don't know what drugs they had us on, but we all saw it. And they called me a witch, and they beat me to death. They beat me.
Just take a minute, Misha, and just take a breath. I think you've done so well.
Your mic's a bit disturbed, Ron. It's like making vibrational noises.
Wow. 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 And whoever was at them parties, I heard Denzel Washington walked out. He couldn't do it at a Diddy party before. Yeah, this is just one victim. There's several victims on the case. Make sure you apply pressure to the like button. You're watching Hustle Kelly, man. This is part 1. We're gonna do part 2 tomorrow. We're gonna introduce Jaguar Wright. Jaguar Wright. Yeah, she comes and she got her stories too. And let's get back into the reaction.
Misha, we're just gonna, and everyone's saluting your bravery right now. It's all just love and respect in the comments. Let's just take a break from the horror for a second, and I'm just gonna ask you some questions away from the horror. So, how old are you when this happened, and also, when to be at that age and to hear about.
I was 10. I didn't get back home until I was 11. I was 10 when I left. I didn't get back till I was 11.
10.
Okay, so you're 10, and this guy.
10. But this the things that's not really adding up. Like, how was you 10? Now, she was 10 years old. But then she said she was in the 9th grade? So that was when she was 13. So this is where I'm kind of losing her at. Like, well, I'm not losing her, but I'm just trying to figure out how was you 10? Like, I don't know. But anyway, let's get back to it.
Guy Diddy is this huge star. I mean, for someone who's 10 years old, what did you think of him before you met him and found out what he was really like?
I thought he was a mogul, and I thought he could make you famous. He did it for Biggie. He did it for Mary J. Blige. He did it for all these artists. I didn't know that the music industry is dark like this. I didn't know. But then I did know, because before I left, they was teaching me witchcraft, like making music over the water. They gave me a book. Because King James, before he wrote the Bible, he has another book. They was giving me that book to read it, to do spells. So I was thinking of it as like Harry Potter in my mind or something. Like, I wasn't thinking it was demonic. I didn't know what I was getting myself into.
So is it a method they employed that they tell kids they're going to make them stars, or they're going to give their careers a rise up? Is that the kind of thing they did? They're blowing smoke?
Yeah, they tell you that they're going to make you big. He told me he was going to bring me out when I turned 20. But they tell you that they're going to make you a star. They tell you that they promise you a lot of things, and you don't get nothing took from you, because he wants your innocence. He wants your creativity, and he wants power over you. So that's why he do.
And you were 10. So you said you were stuck there until you was 11. You were stuck there for a year?
Yeah, because how my birthday works, like right now I'm 33, but in December I turn 34.
All right. So how soon after you were introduced to them did the horrors start? Was there a period where they were nice to you first, or did it get really bad quite quickly?
Well, everything was bad to me. Even with Clyde Davis, everything was bad to me. Because when they come back and I'm standing talking about it, I tune out. He was there too. He did something to me. But it was so traumatizing to me that I don't want to remember it. I don't remember eating. I remember drinking my own urine and having to eat feces. And it was nothing good about it. It was nothing good about it other than after they, like, I have to fight through the high to perform or something like that. But it was nothing good about it. It was nothing good. It was nothing good. Even if he was nice to me, it was nothing good.
So among the young people who were going through these horrors at the time, was Justin Bieber one of those young people who was experiencing these horrors?
I didn't meet him until like the 2003, 2004, but yes, he has experienced that. He made Justin Bieber do things to me and made me do things back to Justin Bieber.
And how old were you at that point?
I had to be either because I ended up coming back home from the first incident and I ran away back to him when I was 13.
So were you able to, like, you say you had to do these things for each other? Does that mean that, like, you guys were enemies, or were you able to make friends with Justin?
I mean, they would just use me as like a bucket. He was just using me as a bucket. Even his sons. And God could take me down, like God could strike me down. Even his sons, Justin and King. Quincy was there too. But he would use me as a bucket. And other young artists, I haven't named their names. But they would use me as a bucket. If I recall, I remember them having to hold his arms. Quincy had to record. We were all underage. He drugged them. He always keep us drugged. I remember they hurt me real bad in the back with the part where I do number 2 at. And I told him I was in pain. And he told me, "Oh, you in pain? You want to get your revenge back?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he made me do it back to Justin. And Justin was screaming. He was crying.
So I was going to ask if you and the other young people could, like, plan to escape, but if they were using substances on you, I imagine that the substances kept you trapped.
Yeah, they did. And every time I did try to escape, I told a person my real age. They always brought it to his attention, but they still left me with him. Nobody cared, if that makes sense, or nobody cared. Nobody really cared. Or even if they did get me away from him.
Get away when you was 11. How did they get you back?
I ran away back to him. I met this lady. She used to be a model in the model industry. She's on drugs now. She was on drugs then. And she was saying she was a model, and I was telling her I wanted to go back. Like, I rode the bus, and I was like, "I'm trying to get back to P. Diddy. You know how to get to New York." And like, that's how I got back. We hitchhiked. I hitchhiked with people I didn't know, and they got me back to New York.
All right, so explain what happened then. So at 11, you got out, and then what was
Guys, I joined their cult. Well, I'm saying I was eating people because it could have been raw meat, but he told me I was eating people. Like, he killed the little brown boy and his skin was brown. So I'm thinking I'm eating the little slave kids that were in the thing with me. and we did drink blood. So I felt like I was in that cult.
So are you saying, okay, so I understand they were brainwashing you and terrifying you and manipulating you. So after you managed to get free at age 11, did you feel so brainwashed that you went back? Is that why you went back?
I went back because I felt like I've been through all this and I'm at home. I told my grandmother what happened to me. She talked to me and was all like, I'm not taking go do no police report. I'm gonna teach you a lesson. She always, every time I do something wrong, she'd be like, it's because you drunk the blood. And they used to be like, I was going to hell. You ate the people and drunk the blood. That's why. And then my best friend will be over there. And she didn't want to eat meat in my house because my granny was like, we all eat people. Like, she was just being funny. And I feel like they talked about me really bad. I was like, I might as well go back.
And how old were you when you went back?
I was 13.
And what happened the day you came back?
He was like shocked that I came back. And I was like, you don't remember me? You remember me? And he acted like he did not remember me. But he told me that he was supposed to kill me. To parties, like elite parties, he kept me around, and whatever they was doing to me, they were mad because it didn't work. It didn't work on me, like my memory. I still have memory, and it didn't work. And the elite people were mad that it didn't work.
And is this leading up to the incident where you were on the stage and you defecated?
Yes. There, the champagne, me and the other black guy, which was another person that was supposed to be a ghostwriter. We thinking it's BCB powder, and we drunk it, and then we had to go to the restroom instantly. And everybody was everywhere having freak off fun. So the restroom was full of people, and he found me. He was like, I've been looking for you. Get on the stage. And when I got on stage, I couldn't hold it. So I'm up there dancing, like, ooh, just dancing around, and I'm using it on myself because he wouldn't let me go. He wouldn't let me go to the restroom. And that was a humiliating feeling right there, because everybody just looking at me like, oh, I hear people say she stinks. And like, oh, she nasty. Like, is she just going to keep dancing? And I remember Denzel Washington was like, you don't have no respect for nobody. And him and his wife left. And there was a lot of people, a lot of celebrities there.
And did he punish you after that?
Yes.
How?
I got beat up, and then after that, I remember seeing me and Miss English. I remember waking up. She was just out there like this out of there, and I remember yelling, "Help me, help me!" But she couldn't get up. She couldn't move. She was out of there. We were just both out of there, and it was like a line. It had to be like more than 100, 200 people was in a line, like a cafeteria. One line was this way, and one line was this way. Like they're going to us, and everybody having sex with us at the party. And there's had to be more than 200 people, 150 people.
So was Miss English going through a lot of the same things as you? We did have her on the channel. She described some horrific stuff.
She wasn't there with me when I was in the tunnels and all that other junk. She was there that incident, but she was willing to come dance, because so what happened was they set me up to sit. They sent me on her. She was working at a club. Money, and she took me. And I remember being with her, reporting to him everything that I saw. He'll give me money to give to them, because the dude that she was with, he was more like a pimp in my eyes. So that happened. I remember beat me up and he wanted me to do something. I told him I didn't want to do that. And I was like telling her, like, I want to go back home. I'm only 13. Can you please take me to the police station or something? I just want to go home. I don't want to be around this no more. And she was spooked and she was like, does Anthony know? And I was like, no. And she was like, well, just keep saying you're 17. And she went and told Anthony, she was like, tell him everything you said to me. Like, she was mad. And I told him, and then Anthony came up with the idea of how and then when she took me back to Diddy, I was crying. I was telling her I didn't want to go back, but she dragged me back. We went back or whatever. And I remember her being like, we got this on camera. We recorded this. If we don't make it back, it's going to be to the police station and on the internet. And then Diddy was all like, oh, ain't nobody ever came up against me. She Diddy. And he was all like, and you're a fucking, sorry. He was like, you're an effing snitch. And then she was all like, okay, I need to come work for her too, to come work for P. Diddy. And after that happened, I remember I wanted to go back with her, but he said I couldn't go back, but I had to stay there. And I remember getting beat up. And then he only brought me out when it was time to do parties. I couldn't be around or be out. But I remember when the girls got paid, I used to be like, where my money? And he'd be like, I took you shopping earlier, but I wanted to buy like tennis shoes, Jordans, and he made me buy heels, and I really didn't know how to walk in heels. And I was like, he said I was being ungrateful or whatever. So he never let me out until it was time for the after parties to the freak offs.
And what was the difference between a regular party and an after party?
The regular party, it'd be like people be there with their children, the kids be there, and it still be naked people around, but the kids it'd be like the kids, everybody outside, no one is having an orgy. It was like different levels.
So in the after party, it was just full on, anything went.
Yeah. Everybody on everybody, girls on girls, guys on guys, guys on kids, kids on kids. It was everything.
And is this around the time there was a plan to get you pregnant?
At that time, I have scars, but when I went to the doctor as a grown woman now, I only have one child. I had him normal. The doctor said that he told me that they was going to take my organs because my C-section started from my chest, which you can see I still have a black scar. Like I have a dark scar right here from my chest all the way down. That's how they cut me. I remember waking up, looking and seeing my insides. That's how they cut me. I got pregnant multiple times, but I told him, like, because it got to the point where I started seeing spirits. Because we was into that cult stuff. He was using me to see the spirits and talk to the spirits. And I told him if he killed me or if he killed another baby out of me, he said, I'm giving you a chance. I'm gonna name you Chance. But that didn't happen. Hold on real quick. That didn't happen to 2006, 2005, around that time when I got back home. That didn't happen to then. But throughout the other times, I can't really discuss. I don't want to go into too much details. But the way that Adrian told my story, she jumped.
That some of the girls were that they can't get pregnant now. Their bodies are damaged inside.
Yes, they can't have kids because they were sticking knives. My uterus is real thin. Like I can get pregnant, but every time I get pregnant, I lose it. Like since I've been away and been grown, every pregnancy I have, I lose it because my walls are so thin from what they have done to me.
And was Ali Carter one of those people who was going through these horrific things at this time?
Yes, I had caught on through her. She had told me to the things that they were doing, they were experimenting on us, doing snuff films. You know what that is, right? They was doing that on us, and she told me I'll never get wet. So she said, start getting wet from it, and they will stop doing it to me. So I had to make myself like it and got wet, and then they stopped doing that to me.
And this is quite graphic, viewers, but you know,
And I always thought Ali Carter was older than me because her survival mode. I always thought she was older than me, but I never knew I was older than her.
In one of your other interviews, you said something about they were forcing young girls to squirt, and then that juice was used for certain purposes.
Yes, it was celebrities in their award gowns. It was them. I remember one person pooped on the floor, and I remember my first time going through that experience when I had to go through that experiment that they do. I don't know what this has to do with money, music, anything. That's what I never could get. And one person boo-booed on the floor. I had to lick it, and I rub it on my body. And if you gag, you get beat with a stick. Now, it's some celebrities that don't want to do anything to children, so they just beat them with a stick. They beat you on your head, beat you in your back, or they ram it in any hole. But they have to do something at these parties. Like, if you in this room, I remember it being a white square room with a dance floor, and it's like the neon lights, like the lights going, and everybody's standing there, and the kids will be butt naked with like a leash on their neck. And whatever, like if a person spit on the floor, you have to lick it or eat it. It's whatever they want to do.
People in the chat are asking, Misha, how you got those scars and burns on your arms?
My scars and burns is I covered up a lot of I got a lot of tattoos to cover a lot of my scars up.
And was it from around that time that they were caused?
No, I didn't get these tattoos until I got older. When I got grown, like I didn't start getting tattoos until I turned 22.
So this second time, then, you know, you've gone back, and it's a second time now. How long did this second time last?
3, 4, 5, and a little bit of 6, but I came back home. That's when I went back to high school. And when I went back to high school, all my classmates were in the 11th grade, and I was still in the 9th grade.
So the second time lasted longer than the first time.
Yeah, I was there. I wasn't planning on ever coming back home, to be honest. But he tried to put me, like, I had that baby, his mother, when I had to breastfeed the baby, sometimes I didn't want to breastfeed her because I was addicted to the drug, and I was feeding for the drug. And I had to bond with the baby, and I just, like, they never let me bond with the baby when I wanted to. So when they was trying to make me bond with the baby, I didn't want to bond with her, and I didn't want to feed her. And I remember slapping his mama because my breast was really sore that day. And she had one of the security guards put me outside. I remember being outside for a couple of days until I walked off barefooted. They put me outside barefooted, and the homeless person gave me his shoes. And I remember telling him, these shoes are too big. And he was all like, well, you don't even have any. And I was all, he had a good idea. And I just took the shoes. I had like some big size 12 shoes on. And I remember one of the security guards picking me up, giving me my pictures from the first time, giving me a stack of papers to give to the police. And I didn't want to turn them papers in, but he told me to turn everything in. So I gave all that to the police. and he gave me what is that called? The USB thing. Yeah, he gave that. The police watched that. They asked me how did I get this, and I said I stole it. I was told to tell them I stole it. I said I stole it. I told them to call Damian Williams, the U.S. attorney, which was the first person that kind of rescued me, saved me when I wrote my police report the first time in New York. They used me, and it was other women down there that surrogate. I wasn't the only person he was doing this to.
Do you think that his kids then presently, that other women were actually used to?
They took eggs. I know they took eggs. They was dishing out my eggs to people. They took my eggs. I can't say their name because they got it to where you can't say their names. But the person that got it to where can't nobody say her name, she had my eggs too. And this is not allegedly. This is the truth. It's the truth. It's the truth. And the truth sucks because people look up to these celebrities.
So you got a viewer is asking, how many of your babies did they take away?
At least 4. And they sold them in the sex underground. So it could be some still alive to this day. But
is my mic working now, Sean?
It's just really like, maybe do a restart and see if you can. It's just like, it sounds really weird. So that must have been really traumatic for you to have those babies taken away. I've got a 1-year-old baby here, and I've seen what the bond is like. Were they just using so many substances on you to keep your mind like just completely destroyed?
it's the whatever is in the baby oil, because I didn't do drugs. I didn't smoke, or I didn't like to smoke or drink liquor or nothing. So he'll just rub something on me like that. Because a lot of babies didn't make it because he was getting me high on that substance. And the doctor told him in order for me to have the last baby that he named Chance, and it was like some mad, to be honest, they were doing some mad scientist work where they took her egg, my egg, and merged it together. Like they doing mad scientist work. But I'm pretty sure if we do a DNA test, I'm 1,000% sure knowing that baby gonna come back to me. It's gonna come back to me.
Did you come across Cassie and Kim Porter?
Yes, I was there with them.
And were they going through these things as well?
Yes, it was the relationship that Diddy had with all the women around is more of a pimp relationship. We were like all in competition with each other. I liked it, the people, but they one spot. I think I was the only one that didn't get money out of him, to be honest. But everybody else, they get money. They got money. And he used to be like, "Oh, you don't use me like that." He looked at me as a best friend. That's what he told me. Me being naive, I thought he loved me, but once I started getting off them drugs and like especially when every time he got me pregnant, had to keep me off the drugs, I knew this not what's up. When I got out, woke up, she was watching him have sex and she took that bag of money. That's where he keep his money, in that bag. So instead of her watching like she usually watched, she got mad and ran out with the bag of money. Those were not clothes. It was money in that bag.
And what do you think about Kim Porter's death?
Stuff because he plagued me with stuff and sent me to Dr. Simbi. And I remember telling Dr. Simbi, they're going to kill you. And then he gave me something. I threw up blood. I pooped it out, and it lasted. He was having his people make put in their drinks, put it in their food. She used to drink natural juices. I think it'll be like oranges and lemons. If I'm not mistaken, a mango, and she'll make her own juice and she'll keep it in the refrigerator.
Yeah, in the lawsuits, they're talking about all the drinks being spiked and the baby oil and stuff like that.
Yes, whatever in that baby oil, that is some bad stuff. You can rub a little bit, like you know how you put a little bit of oil on you, and I'll be like, hey, give me all your money out your bank account. You gonna go give me your money out your bank? Take this money. And made that man, he was telling the story what he did, made that man go to the police station, and he told them what he did about something he got away with.
Do you have a lawyer now that's helping you, and are you part of the cases against him?
After the holidays, I surely would be. I have a lawyer. But right now I just go to this church. And this is my uncle, my auntie. My uncle and my auntie, they are helping me right now, but I went to Metro Care because I broke down real bad. Like I was thinking of unaliving myself before I even came out. I was thinking about unaliving myself when Adrian and to tell the truth. But at first I was like, this was just like, oh my God, like it's stressing me out. I feel like they was coming to get me and I don't even know who they are, but I just be feeling like they're after me and I don't know who's after me. But me getting back in church and being spiritually protected and them praying for me is what's keeping me sane. You know, it's keeping me to where I'm not gonna end up in a mental hospital or I'm not going to unalive myself, because everything happened for a reason and God planned it to go this long. Christ planned it to go this long. And if you call on him and you accept him in your life, he will show up for you and he will be there for you. And what's been keeping me sane is to know that my God, he didn't leave me. I left him. And he forgave me for the things that I've done.
I don't know if is my mic working any better now, Sean? Sorry.
Just sounds like you're like a robot or something like.
I don't know what's going on. I apologize.
Maybe turn the volume down, maybe because it's like let me see Mike settings. Yeah, you've got it on 200%.
Oh.
All right, that's part one. That is part one. Man, leave your comments down below in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Man, this P. Diddy case is about to get dirty. Straight dirty. And it is interesting. That's some sick stuff. Especially like on the dark web. Stuff on the dark, weird ass porno videos. You can sell organs and eggs. You know, who knows? Some celebrities need that stuff. And at these parties, it seemed like, I don't know. At the end of the day. And I will see you on the next reaction. The next reaction is going to be Jaguar Wright. Yeah, we're going to introduce Jaguar Wright, LaMesha, and we say, you know, came and yeah, we're gonna continue to your post notification bell on all. And let's get your girl up to 1,000 subscribers. Yeah, we're gonna be doing some P. Diddy content over here at Hustle Kelly. And yeah. Yep. Bro, the outro, and I'm out.